I'm gonna replace the some screws that hold this throttle on. As you can see, my throttle is very loose, keeps backing out. It looks like it's got some wood screws in there, so I'm gonna pull this out and put some new bolts in. I looked around online to see if I could find some actual information on removing this. I found nothing, but if you look, there is a little hash mark right here on your throttle. What you want to do is you want to take it forward, and then there's a cutout in the bottom. If you line that up, you just take a 1/8 inch Allen wrench and go right inside that hole, and there is a little set screw in there that comes out with an 1/8 inch Allen. Once you get that removed, it still won't come off, so this is the part where it got tricky for me. So you're going to pull up, you're going to push your throttle only button in, you're going to rotate it all the way forward until that thing stays inside. Now you're going to pop this thing out, your button here. There we go. Alright, now that that torture is done, there's a little slit if you roll it around right here, and this will pop out. And after you get that off, it's pretty simple. Then you're going to need an 11/16. There's a bolt in here. You're going to take your throttle to wherever you want it. I'm going to take it forward, all the way forward, so that way I know where to put it back on. The spline in the same position. This is a Ranger, 1997 Ranger R82 Sport. It's a Quicksilver 3000 classic throttle lever. I think it's a pretty common one. So now that you got all that off, now it will slide off. Be careful you have your trim. If you have electric trim like I do, you'll have all these wires and stuff. So this is where my problem is. It's got these wood screws in here that just keep falling out, so my throttle is just sliding all over the place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace them with some bolts. I think I looked at it, and I'm going to try to put these in, and then there's I can get around to the front here, put my arm back to get back to the nuts, and I'll put some lock washers on. Try to get this thing to stay in one place instead of these screws backing out every time I hit a couple of waves. So I put 3 new screws in right here. Well, they're machine screws, so they're threaded on the back side. I can put a nut on, so I put a lock washer and a nut. These 2 here were the only 2 I could get to from up in here. If you go to the front, back in this hole, you can get back behind there, but you can only reach these 2 front ones. The back one I couldn't get to. The only way I think you might be able to get up to that is to pull the fuel tank, which is filled from when I winterized it last year. So this screw was actually quite a bit bigger than the one that was in there, and so it threaded really tight. So I'm hoping that with these 2 with lock washers and nuts on the back, and with this one threaded in tighter now, that we should be good to go. I'm going to put it back together now. Put this little plate back on. Putting it back together is kind of tricky too. If you look down here, this little bushing in here has a keyed entry on it, which inside of here will only go one way. So be real careful when you put this back on, because you have these wires for your trim still. What you want to do is you want to line up this keyed bushing thing here, so that hopefully you guys can see this. without that being lined up just right, it will never go on. There she goes. So that's it. Once you get that back on, you put your bolt back in. You need a really shallow. I actually have a, this is the bolt, and so I have a socket, but I have a 11/16 socket, and it's got a magnet in it, so it takes up a lot of the space. Obviously the magnet doesn't do anything in this situation, but, and then pretty much threads back in. That's that. This just pops right back in. There it is. That's in. And you're back in business. Just make sure that you get it back in the right location. Where your throttle won't be positioned exactly how you like it, but as you can see, not loose anymore. Got that problem taken care of, so my throttle won't be flopping and coming off during fishing trips. Hope this helped. Even if you're not don't have the same issue where your bolts had pulled out, if you're wanting to work on your throttle, it's good to know how to take this lever off so you can access that and pull off the stuff.